welcome back. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. Some did, some didn't. Charts continue to smack ping pong back and forth, kind of like we thought may happen. Nonetheless, I'm glad you're here. Welcome, everybody, to Crypto Before Dark. If you would please, go hit like. It's free. It costs absolutely nothing. While you're there, subscribe. It costs absolutely nothing. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. We do these videos 2 times per week on X, Rumble, and YouTube. Shout out to everybody watching over on X, our Say Anything You Want platform. Shout out to Rumble, our alternative viewing platform. It's anything goes over there. Love it. And for those of you watching along on YouTube, what's up? Get with it, guys. The world's changing. Check out Rumble. Check out X. The whole world has shifted. People are getting tired of the same old Google crap, for what it's worth. So, hey, look. I'm going to go over some stuff here on Bitcoin. Going to run through some charts here, and we're going to talk about it. The thumbnails, I tell you guys all the time, are never clickbait. We always do real, legit thumbnails. And the thumbnail this time says recovery. You guys saw the guy in the hospital bed with Bitcoin dripping in his veins, right? Trying to recover. Well, we may have the beginnings of a recovery here, but warning, that's not a guarantee. Okay? I just want to talk about what I see here and what I think may possibly be happening. Please go check the charts out for yourself. Don't believe moi. You go through it and dig in and see what you think. Appreciate everybody who's watching. Appreciate it, Philip. What's up, Jeremy? Poochie. Appreciate you guys reposting. Shout out over there on Rumble. Crypto Big D. Appreciate it. What's up, D Flava Flav? Good to see you, brother. Andy. What's up, brother? Victor. Nope, you're getting muted. Hide user, brother. Sorry, you don't get to spam in my chat with your coin crap. No one wants to hear it. Anyway, off we go. So this is the daily chart for Bitcoin, and I want to highlight a few things, right? When we did our last live stream was Thursday the 20th. Look at the RSI on Thursday the 20th, right? She was down. It got even worse on Friday and a little bit worse on Saturday before things slowly started to turn the corner here. And over the last couple of days, things have gotten just a little bit better. As you can see, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday today, it looks like on a short-term time frame, the month of November has slightly reversed here. Now, this is not a guarantee. All I'm pointing out here is the fact that it appears as though we've broken a trend line. Nice. Took long enough. My God. After all that notoriously bad downfall, for what it's worth, the RSI on Bitcoin was the lowest it had been in 2 years, all the way back to 2023. And at one point, many altcoins were worse than their bear market RSIs, which is incredible to say that now, in all the things that we've had going on and all the world's hype, worse RSI than 2022. That's insane. By the way, guys, over on YouTube, I see we got many viewers and not many likes. Y'all go hit like. It's free. Costs absolutely nothing, man. Hit the button, dog. So that was the first thing I wanted to point out. That it looks like we've began some recovery, but it's not a full-on recovery. It's just the markings of a beginning of a recovery. If I zoom out here, you'll see we have a long way to go to get back to where we hit before, around the 127 area that we were at. It could possibly not get back up there and just have a little bit of recovery. More so, I wanted you to take note of what I saw, that it appears as though on the short-term time frames, we've broken the trend. And I'm going to drop down to the 2-hour here just so you can see what I'm talking about. Same trend line drawn on another chart. This is the one I usually use when we're doing live streams. What's up, Crew Chief? Yeah, I think that could be happening, Crew Chief. Here's that short-term uptrend that I just mentioned, right? Very, very short-term uptrend that started Friday afternoon. We had some sell-offs, some buybacks, some sell-offs, buyback. Then we appeared to breach the trend line and backtest it so far. Now, the thing is, we're building this little bit of a wedge right here on top of this trend line. And this is the same trend line you saw a moment ago, just zoomed in. We've got a bullish engulfing going right here, but this is not out of the woods at all. This very much could come right back in our face and turn around on us again. If I pull up the 4-hour, you'll see we've got some really, really wonky price action, some very back and forth volleyball style moves here. It can't really make its mind up on what it wants to do. Here's all your moving averages. You can see we're fighting the 821 EMA, and this thing flat rejected 1, 2, 3 times. that 50 moving average, bang, 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 before it decided to flatten out here. This could take another run at the 50 moving average, which I kind of do expect. But the breaker here is getting over this 4-hour 50 moving average. If it can get over that 4-hour 50 MA, it looks like things could take a positive turn here for at least a little while, right? And if I flip it back to daily and I take some of this stuff off, you guys have already seen that. I don't need to keep that on the screen there. You can see where all of our shorts have piled in time up here. All of these shorts, more shorts, more shorts, more shorts, LOL GGs. And now we've gotten stuck up under the daily 8 EMA. That's a very simple rule. God dang it, you guys won't stop with this bullshit. Hide user. Bam. So yeah, I got people spamming the chat. It's just bots, I believe, spamming the chat, telling people to go for a pre-sale. Don't fall for any of that shit, fellas. It's a scam. You know better. Come on. Anyway, she's stuck up under the 8 EMA, and as a general rule, you guys know that I'm looking for certain markers to make my buys and sales. I want to see 2 candles over the 8 EMA in a row on the daily chart. Right now, we don't even have 1 candle over the 8 EMA daily. So we've gotten a little peak, but it hasn't closed up there. It's going to be 2 consecutive closings. I don't necessarily care about the color of the candle, just so long as it closes over the 821 EMA. The second marker would be the green 8 EMA crossing the 21 purple EMA. That would be a bullish cross upward. And you can see how far apart they are. It's a long row to hoe there for them to even get close to signaling to me to buy a second time. Okay. And again, here's the RSI just now coming out of the gutter, which is still not great, but it's trying. And here's your MACD. We are losing sell volume, which is good, but you're still not in a bullish trend here. You still haven't started any green buy volume at all. You are starting to converge on your MACD lines. This is moving average convergence divergence, MACD. The acronym is the indicator. And as you see, the blue is about to cross the orange line, which is the trigger line. Hasn't quite gotten there yet, but trying. Again, and it's a long way from the midline, which is way up here too, which would be your bullish bearish indicator. This thing can flip green here, and it can turn blue over orange. That would be great, but it's still got to get all the way up above the midline to be bullish. All right, does that make sense? It's just an indicator. It's an oscillator. They're there to kind of help us along the way, not necessarily give us a boost. I got the volume up pretty loud, Jordan, but I can turn it up some more. Hang on. Yeah, I've got the volume turned all the way up over here on mine, so I don't know what's up. Anybody else got a volume issue? Let me know, and I can turn it up more if I need to. But I think the volume is about as high as it'll go on my streaming software over here. Could be me. It's happened before, and I did have the cleaning lady come in here and clean up the office before I came in here, and she did accidentally unplug the streaming software. It wasn't her fault. She didn't mean to. It's a lot of shit in this office, as you can see behind me, right? It's not always going to be difficult. It's easy. It's sometimes going to be difficult, but I need that marker to change. It hasn't quite changed just yet. And obviously got all those other moving averages that are in the way. All speed bumps to the road of progress. Here's our pivot points. We're still well under S3. We failed all. Appreciate it, guys. We failed all of the pivot lines in a row here. Bang, bang, bang. Hasn't looked back since. Just pure defecation in the face of everything. Needs to reverse and hasn't, obviously, right? Just getting back over S3 would be a huge hurdle to jump, and it hasn't gotten there yet, obviously. It's got more work to do to prove anything, really. Once it starts to nuke some of these shorts out, that may change the trend as far as sell pressure, and we may start to see some actual big buy volume come in. We've been monitoring buy volume and stuff, and it's changed some. This was a decent candle. This is what we call a pin bar candle, a potential reversal at the bottom. Not quite a hammer because it's not green and the candle isn't at the top here. The body of the candle is not at the top. It's kind of in the middle. But you do have a long tail on the bottom showing buy pressure, right? That's good, but we need to close it. We did close above it. That's good. Next step, breaking trend. That's good. Now prove it by making a higher high. And that would be way up here. We don't have a single high down here to look for. These are all lows. So getting a higher high would be 106, closing above 106. That's a long road to hoe. Obviously, you guys can see that. That's pretty crazy to think that that's how far back it's got to go just to start a recovery. You guys can start to see some of the problems that we've gotten on our hands, right? Fair enough. All right, so I'm going to pull up the weekly here. because people say I only do low time frames, and that's not the way things work, Keith, and no charts can predict what's coming. You don't understand, Keith, what's coming. The team, the partnerships, the tech, they're so good, Keith. Bruh. No, they're not. Show me $1. $1 that got invested into a company or a company invested to the coin. $1. And I don't mean an ETF. I mean the company went, damn, I really, really like this crypto. Let me buy $100 million. Nah, not the case at all. All right, so here's our weekly look. Ichimoku Cloud technically still inside the cloud. I wanted to show you this because this is one of the, it could be worse moments. Pivots, you're all the way back to the weekly pivot. You tickled 80,000, which is where the weekly pivot point is. So technically it's still not horrible. It's bad, but it's not horrible. And you can forget about the moving averages, except for the 100. You've tagged the 100 moving average, and so far it's hanging on. That's quite possible that we get a back test here and a run back up to the 50 or 821 up here, the 821 EMAs or the 50 MA, which is that yellow line right there. It's quite possible we get this bounce here and then a run back up to those, and then very much possible that we could start doing more of this afterwards. So it's going to be key to have your eyeballs on this, because things can get bad real fast. Now, obviously, the most bullish scenario will be pushing into these moving averages, retracing a bit, and then breaking out. It won't just go straight through. That's not how it works. You guys all know that by this point. And if you think it's just going to go barreling through, you know good and well you're not right, and you're living on hopium, and that's not reality. We have to live in reality here in the real world. We know better than that. I think you all know better than that. So anyway, I'm monitoring it closely. Now, I will say here's one bullish sentiment. If I look at the Fibonacci retracement and I go back from the last low, which was in April, right? I pull up to the top and I grab the very, very top point where the price action hit. And I look to see how far down we've retraced. Here was our run up, and here's our retrace back. Think about when you lose your car keys. People ask me all the time how to pull Fibonacci retracement. Well, here's how. It's just like trying to find your car keys. You had an event. You left the house. You left the house. You don't remember where you put your keys. So the first thing you start doing is walking back where you were before. You left the house, and you start walking back where you were before, trying to find your keys. Where do you typically find your keys? Well, that's an interesting thing, right? There's a few different places. Number one, it could be back in the little jar next to the front door. It could be hanging up there on the key ring, right? That's where mine are. It could be in your pockets. You left your keys in your pockets. The golden pocket. That's the 618 to 71 level. Or, man, you could have dropped your keys beside the couch. That's the sniper's alley level, 786, 886. Maybe they fell out of your pocket beside the bed, in between the bed and the nightstand. It's happened to me before. That's your different levels, right? Cool. You hit perfectly on the, I dropped my keys in the little slot between the bed and the nightstand. And it looks like you may have found the keys. Now what happens? Well, in order to prove that we've found the keys, we need to get back over this 71 to 618 level. That's the golden pocket. We need to get back over that. That's starting at about 91,000. If you can close over 91, it's a good start of a recovery. Now, if it doesn't prove itself and it wants to go farther, guess what, folks? It can get worse. You dropped your keys down the sewer drain when you got out of the car. Someone stole your keys out of your wallet. Someone stole your keys out of your car, whatever. It can get worse. And those levels are $64,000 to $53,000. That would burn, wouldn't it? It's also possible that we do nothing more than sweep the previous all-time high, where it started back in April, when it peaked up at about 74,000. That's not the perfect number, but it's close, and that's about where the previous all-time high was. It's also possible, and honestly at this point likely, that we go a back test and then fail back down here to the $74,000 to $70,000 level. Could fail farther than that too as well. We need to keep our eyes on it at that point, because it can go all the way down to the 1618 that I just showed you a moment ago. The good news is we seem to have found some buy pressure and seem to be trying to battle back at this level, right? That's a good thing. Just need to maintain that good that good rhetoric and not let it fall off too far. Okay. You guys go hit like if you could. I see half as many likes as viewers. It's pretty wild. And for you guys over on X, give it a like, give it a repost, man. It's free. No cost nothing. Let everybody know you're watching. The more people we can get to watch, the more people who can learn to be educated, not just constantly buy falling knives. Buying falling knives is the worst decision of your life. You won't listen to me. You'll continue to buy the falling knives. Eventually, you won't admit that I was right. You'll just argue with me and say you hate me, because that's the way it works. No one likes to admit when they're wrong, and I get that. I don't like to do it either, but I have to. It's only a matter of time before you have to admit you were wrong if you start buying falling knives. Okay? Cool. Now, I want to move on to a couple other ones. We're seeing some interesting price action, and I want you to see it. All right? So here is SUI. I brought up SUI for a reason, all right? We had a very, very aggressive fall off here on SUI. I'm going to erase some of this old stuff. These are old buy lines from back in the day. As you can see, we did pretty well on SUI. I'm going to erase these and start over because these have kind of come and gone at this point. All right, so I can grab the last low in June, pull this up, and as you see, when I remember a second ago, I said, hey, things can get worse and you can definitely fall farther. Well, guess what? Things fell farther for SUI. It fell all the way down here to the 1618, actually went below it, and is now back testing that 618 level at 151. Yikes. Boy, did this thing fall off aggressively. Now, has it tried to rebound? Absolutely it has. It even appears, right there's that 1618 level. So I'm going to cut this out. And I'm going to go zooming in here down to the daily chart to see if I see anything bullish. And if you look closely, see here you had a pretty aggressive downtrend. And it appears as though, just like Bitcoin, we may have a breakout. Now here's the kicker. You go add other things in and it could be worse or better. It's hard pressed to figure it out just yet. But as you see, she actually closed over the 8 EMA yesterday evening. Today, it's trying to hold the 8 EMA right now, throwing a bit of a doji at the top. This could signal reversal, or it could signal more up. It's really hard to state at this point. It needs to close above the 8 EMA again. I'd love to see it close above the 8 EMA again. Don't know if it actually will or not, but this was a very aggressive candle that came in yesterday. It finally broke loose of this downtrend. It may take a little bit, may hesitate around here, but we're starting to see signs of slow recoveries. Now, how would you measure how far the recovery will go? Well, first we start at our little short-term downtrend that we had right here, and we can pull Fibonacci retracement on that part first. All right, so I'm going to pull it over here a little bit more so we can see it. You would typically use this dash line in line with that red trend line. I'm just dragging it over. We can see it a little bit better. We're over the 236 level. That's nice. If you get over the 236 and prove it, which if it's going to do that this afternoon, it may prove it. We can head for that 382, which is about 160. Now, interestingly enough, we typically get past that 382 level, but there is some resistance right over here from those first two candles. First stop, in my opinion, would be 170. Non-financial advice, do your own thing, but this is the continuation fib. You need to get over this and close above it, because when you close above it up here, you can continue on up. You close under it, and you are likely to fail and roll down more. All right? You have two options. You can roll down that more, or you can get over top and get moving. All right. Above that, Sniper's Alley and the Golden Pocket. Here's the Golden Pocket right here. It was 168 to 0.71. And as you can see, there's some wicks over there. But the heavier resistance is right up here at Sniper's Alley between 190 and $2. Now that's about 25-ish% from here. That would be a pretty fair recovery in the world of it's been terrible and I'd like to get some money back. Fair enough? Fair enough. Zoom it back a little farther. All right, there's our previous high. And we'll grab it a little farther. And now we start to see confluence of levels. All right. Now, the same levels that I talked about on a lower time frame. If we go a little bit higher, you start to see some of those same levels combining again. You haven't got over this 236 yet. You haven't even thought about sniffing this 382 where there happens to be resistance. And now you're looking at the 50 fib up here where it's the top of these candles pushing into other ones. Those levels are still 195 and about 221. So 20 to 30% from the current price. Now, that's still a pretty good lick, especially considering how bad things have been. Now, let's go all the way from the very top up here. I'll drag this over, and as you see, this becomes highly unlikely. But I guess it's possible. It's just highly unlikely. Here's your weekly time frame. As you see, you're not even close to the 236 or anything. Now the 382 level is about $2. So you're starting to see it becomes a little bit of hopium, right? So be careful here. Nothing is guaranteed. These things could get worse and worse and worse. You caught this bottom wick right there at the 236. It's pretty much in line. Not perfectly, but pretty darn close. And then you have resistance all through there that we've kind of already discussed. You got resistance at the 382, resistance at the 50 fib, and that's just to recover. That's just to recover. You know what I mean? It can get worse. So while things have changed and started to do better, you see even SUI that has started to do better has a long road to recovery. How about a couple more? So we were watching charts and just kind of like observing things in the Discord today, kind of like looking around. I do this every single morning. There you go. Got muted, Sean. Sorry about that. Shouldn't try to spam my chat. Here's Link. So we were watching a few, and I'm like, hey man, good recovery yesterday. But Link's actually put together a couple good days in a row here. And it did enough work to get back over that trend line, just like the others did. Interestingly enough, didn't close over the AEMA and is now pushed right up into it again another day. Still hasn't got above it, but it seems to be trying. And you can see this short-term uptrend I've got right here. If I flip it over to the 4 hour, go down a little lower just so you can see the price action a bit better. You can see she's cleared the 4 hour 50 moving average that I said Bitcoin needed to do earlier. Do you remember that? Right there you go. Hasn't done it yet, but needs to. Well, Link's already done that work. Now, obviously, these candles aren't exactly super bullish, but you like to see it attempt to try here and see if it can make some positive changes. We've got 3.5 more hours to go before closing this afternoon. I'd like to see that 4 hour candle do something and not just completely give up. It would be nice to see some bullish sentiment for a change. But more importantly, we've seen several good days in a row. It does look like it broke out from that little short-term trend. And you can see that there's a ton of room between the 8 EMA and the 21 EMA. A lot of your oscillators were just absolutely buried here. This thing went oversold, but not as oversold as some. And this MACD, my goodness. This MACD was the lowest it had been since February when things got really, really, really bad. And before that, hadn't been this low since 2022. Again, like I was telling you, some alts were just obliterated. This is what I'm trying to say. MACD has crossed up. That's good. And you're starting to see some green buy volume come in for the first time in a while. Now, obviously, you need that to be sustained. We don't have any proof of sustainability just yet, but it's worth watching. Here's your pivot. You're not even close to S1 or pivots. You're just kind of floating around in the middle. Nominal trading here. Not a lot of help from those. And if you pull up the Ichimoku cloud, you can we're still 0 out of 4 lag lines under the candles. That's not going to work. You've got a red cloud on the end. You've got the blue line under the red line. That's the conversion line. Under the baseline, they need to be flipped the other way. And the price is still under the cloud, as you can see. That's 4 out of 4, no thanks. So you need a lot of work there just to get back on one of the slow indicators. That's how bad things got in a hurry. The good news is it's trying to recover. Watch and see what happens over the next couple days. And we'll do one more. Oh, the volume's good on your end. Appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know why the volume's tripping up for him. It's weird. It seems to be good everywhere else. I'm not sure what happened. Don't know. Oh my God, you guys spamming the bots. It's just bots, but still, like all the live streams of spam, you come after mine, dude. We're nobody. Look how many viewers we have. We're nobody. Come on, dude. You really think people are going to hurry up and go buy from here? Nah. Use your brain. All right, we'll do one more. Let's check out AVAX. So, just like I just mentioned with SUI, boy, this thing got bad. AVAX was one of the worst performers. Look at this RSI. Bang, bang, bang. Triple oversold, and not just a little bit oversold, but this thing dug in for a while. It really, really dug a mud hole. MACD slowly has some divergence there. You can see it pointing up, trying to get out of the mud. We do have 2 volume bars of green in a row, finally. That's a good sign. And just like I mentioned with SUI, just like I mentioned with Bitcoin, you're starting to see a breakout here for AVAX as well. Couple good pushes here to get over the trend line. Sure enough, she's pushing into the AEMA. Closing above that AEMA would be magnificent. Give me a second close over that 8 exponential moving average, and we can talk about buying some. That would be my first of 2 buys. If you're looking to buy, you want an 821 EMA cross as well, the green over the purple. Hasn't happened, obviously. And this thing fell so far, so fast. It's super sketchy, right? I understand it's super sketchy. And if we step it back a little bit here on the weekly, you can see how far this thing's really fallen. She's approaching, it didn't quite get there, but October 2023 levels. That's how far down this thing went and just kept failing and failing and failing. It failed way farther than I thought it would. But honestly, I thought a lot of these would do better than they did, and they didn't. They just continued to underperform on a massive, massive scale. It needs to get above this resistance of this green box that you see I've drawn here. That's the bottom wicks of all these moves up it did. You needed to hold on to that, and you didn't hold on to that, and now you have to recover from it. Hence the thumbnail, recovery. But it's positive signs that it's trying. So let's pull a Fibonacci retracement on this one, just like we did on the last couple. I'll pull it from the top here, but you as well could do this little one down here, right? Start to see confluence of levels. Yeah, start to see these fibs line up with each other on certain spots, and it looks like a lot of them is going to be around this 236 fib, this green box at about $16. That's going to be a crusher to get over. Need to get over that. Then you have $18 and $21. Those levels are both going to be levels of contention. It ain't going to want to go easy. It's been so far down that I don't think that's without a massive push here and a lot of volume that you're going to move off the floor real easy. Now, the good news is it's trying for the first time in a long time, right? And there's your little trend line to look at and say, hey, we got to break this before we pass go and collect $200. Baby steps. I'm glad it done something on the low time frames. I'm glad it's gotten some juice. And here's your 4 hour, by the way. You can see it's done a little bit better than some on the 4 hour. She's over the 50 moving average. And it looks like that 4 hour 100 moving average lines up directly with the trend line there, right? So you can see here there's some hope, but it's still roadblocks. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I like the fact that things are at least trying to recover. They're not yet. It's just the beginning. This is a slow drip, but baby steps. Now, thank you all for watching. That was a quick 30 minutes. We don't need to go through 1,000 different altcoins at this point. There's still so much recovery to do, and the markets are so bad. And it wasn't just crypto. Stocks went down as well. They all got crushed. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate you all for being here. Could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be here with me. I appreciate that. No stream on Thursday. Thursday's Thanksgiving, and in this house, we give thanks. We don't work on Thanksgiving. We give thanks. I appreciate you all being here, though. So I mean, it means a ton to me. Thank you. Let's make the best of our todays, the worst of our tomorrows. We're having some better days here. Let's keep them going and make the next day better than the last. And last but not least, if nobody else told you today, Keith will tell you, Keith loves you. Thank you all for being here. One more time, I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. It means a ton to me. It really does. See you guys on the next live stream. Don't forget, sky's the limit. I'm out. Peace.